Welcome to Daily Drive for Thursday, April 16th, 2026. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, EV registrations tumble farther in February. Ford's Doug Field is leaving the company, and Stellantis hires a Hyundai veteran to boost U.S. sales. Plus, Nissan CEO Ivan Espinosa talks about his vision for the company's future, including deploying AI-driven autonomous technology across most of the lineup.
We started with a few products already. 4 products have been launched with this philosophy. We see good traction, and we will continue investing in the same way for the future.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry. New electric vehicle registrations dropped 37% in February compared to last year. That brings EV share below 5% for the first time since federal tax credits disappeared last fall. According to S&P Global Mobility, Tesla's still winning, but even they're down 22%. One bright spot, Toyota, which saw registrations jump 77% by throwing big incentives at buyers, Motor Intelligence says they averaged more than $12,000 per vehicle on their BZ crossover. We'll have more on this story in a minute with our own Lawrence Iliff. Doug Field is leaving Ford next month. Ford brought Field in from Apple and Tesla back in 2021 to help turn the company into a modern software-driven automaker. Field's departure comes as Ford reshuffles its leadership. The company is combining its EV teams with its traditional engineering operations under COO Kumar Galhotra, all in a push to move faster as it preps a wave of new vehicles. CEO Jim Farley praised Field for teaching the company first principles thinking. Field says his job is done. He says Ford has a winning tech strategy and that crucial new electric pickup is headed to production. And Stellantis is bringing in some fresh talent to turn around its U.S. sales slump. The automaker just hired Michael Orange away from Hyundai, where he'd spent nearly 2 decades climbing the ranks. Most recently, he was vice president of national sales, helping Hyundai hit record volume. Orange starts April 22nd as senior vice president of U.S. sales and network performance. He'll report directly to CEO Antonio Filosa. His mission? Boost retail sales, repair relationships with frustrated dealers, and help Stellantis claw back market share. The company's aiming for a 25% jump in U.S. retail sales this year. And those are today's headlines. You can find more details on all those stories at autonews.com. Here to talk about falling EV registrations is our own Lawrence Iliff, who covers Tesla and other EV brands for us at Automotive News. Lonnie, welcome back to Daily Drive.
It's great to be here.
All right, Lonnie, so the EV tax credits have been gone for months. Why is share still falling?
I think we're kind of in this weird place in the EV market where before, we had the consumer tax credit, $7,500, and then there were all these automaker pressures, right? They had to meet fuel economy standards, emission standards, right? And so everybody was kind of racing to get EVs in people's hands, and the market became pretty distorted. Now the $7,500 is gone as of September 30th. And the emissions are also gone, and the fuel economy standards are not being enforced anymore. And so people don't have that much reason to buy EVs anymore unless they really want one. So we're getting to kind of more organic demand, both on the consumer side and on the automaker side. Because remember, the automakers are still putting money into the EVs that they want to sell in the form of incentives. So it's not kind of a pure consumer demand. It's kind of a natural demand between the automakers and the consumers. And as a result, a lot of automakers have said, I don't really want to do this. I'm losing money. I'm going to kill some models, and then I'm going to come back later with a different platform, right? And so you see some automakers down 90%, 80%, 70%. Those are big names, Honda, Nissan, Volkswagen, and they're kind of, pulling out. Meanwhile, there are some winners. There are some companies that are still fighting out there. Tesla is still doing pretty well. They're down, 22%, 23%. But, they're kind of the Kleenex of EVs. If you want an EV, you got to kind of put Tesla on your buying list, even if you don't buy one, right? And so, GM brought out a lot of models, so that's keeping their numbers positive. Hyundai was just about flat, plus 2%. They have some good deals. And so kind of the market's shaking out. Everybody's saying it's a transition phase, it's a step change. It's, going from, one market to a completely different market, and we're kind of in the middle of it.
Now, analysts think 5 to 8% is where EV market share will settle without tax credits. What does this tell us about where the industry goes from here?
I think it says that, a lot of the progress we made up until, the tax credit went away, where share went up, basically from, kind of near zero earlier this decade to about 8%, by mid 2025, that we're going down, right? It was about 4.8% in February. And then there's some numbers from Cox Automotive for the first quarter that said 5.8%, right? So we kind of went down, we lost some ground, and now we're coming back up to that 8%. According to analysts, that's kind of where we'll get, but we'll kind of be stuck at that 8% until, we see some new models, we see some more affordable models, we see some charging, we see some education, we kind of break through some of those barriers to adoption. But it's going to take some time. And I think, when I talk to people, they're not sure when. They think maybe 2027 is going to be better.
Perfect. Lonnie, always insightful. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Coming up, Nissan CEO Ivan Espinosa joins us for an exclusive interview to discuss his turnaround strategy. That's next on Daily Drive.
Are you a dealer creating a workplace culture your employees are proud to be part of? Applications are now open for the 2026 Automotive News Best Dealerships to Work For program. This isn't just an award, it's a chance to get real insight into what's working at your dealership and where you can improve. And we've expanded the categories this year, recognizing everything from technician experience and leadership development to AI enablement and employee retention. The registration deadline is April 17th. Find out more and apply at autonews.com.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Kellen Walker. Nissan CEO Ivan Espinosa is wrapping up his first year leading the automaker, a year marked by major restructuring that included closing 7 plants globally, but Espinosa says the company is ready to move beyond turnaround mode. He spoke with Automotive News Asia editor Hans Greimel about his vision for Nissan, including plans to deploy AI-driven autonomous driving technology across 90% of the lineup, streamline the global product portfolio, and return to 1 million U.S. sales by 2031.
This is Hans Greimel, the Asia editor from Automotive News. I'm with Nissan CEO Ivan Espinosa, who is just wrapping up his first year as company boss. He was appointed CEO last year, and he took the office April 1st, I believe, of 2025. In that first year on the job, you had to go through quite an experience of restructuring the company. You're now still in the first year of the 3-year rollout plan. Tell us about the hardest decisions that you made in that first year.
Well, the most difficult decision, as you said, was around the restructuring. So, first of all, we came out with a clear plan, which is Nissan, which is a 2-year program. So we immediately after I was appointed into the office, we analyzed. I knew the situation already because I've been working in the executive committee before being appointed CEO. So I knew together with some of the leaders what had to be done. So we very quickly put in place the plan. And within this plan, there were 3 pillars. One was costs, the other was product and market strategy, and the third one was partnerships. And within the cost pillar, we had variable cost efforts. We had to do with how can we make our variable costs of our cars more competitive by changing the standards, changing the way we spec and build cars. And the difficult part was fixed costs, because there was a big restructuring that had to be made.
And those are the factories that you're talking about, right?
Exactly. That was the most difficult part of the decisions that had to be made. The fact that we had to close or move from 17 to 10 plants.
Right, 7
plants. Yeah, 7 plants are going to be shot effectively. So we had locations like Argentina. We had Compass and Cuernavaca in Mexico. We had India.
Right.
We had Opama
quite a lot of hard decisions to make there. And that brings us to today, where it's not really an update on the restructuring plan or the extension of this restructuring plan. You're kind of looking out beyond that to kind of give a corporate vision, as what you're calling here, to tell us about the main points of this vision. Today, you said it's not a restructuring plan. It's not the next turnaround plan. It's something beyond that. What do you mean?
Right. It's not a turnaround plan. Nissan is a turnaround plan. It's a plan that will create the foundation, give us the right cost structure, the right footprint in order to build the next layer of strategy, which is what we announced today. And it's a strategy that is founded on a clear vision of bringing mobility intelligence to everyday's life. What we mean by that is bringing technologies that are human-centric to our customers that are accessible. We want to move into a positioning that is being accessible and progressive.
And if I hit at some of the points here, you want to deploy, for example, artificial intelligence-driven automated driving systems across 90% of your product portfolio in the long term. We don't have it. You didn't actually specify a time frame for that, but long term could be to 5-10 years maybe. And also, you're going to try to condense the global power lineup and expand the powertrain offerings at each nameplate. What's the thinking behind that? How much are you condensing the global lineup, and what do you expect to achieve by doing that?
Okay. So on AI, so as I was mentioning, the vision is to bring mobility intelligence, and this intelligence is founded on AI as one of the core areas. And within AI, we will have autonomous-based technology based on AI, which is the AI driver. And we will have also AI-based experiences in the car, which is the AI partner. So AI will be the enabler for all the technology that we will be bringing to our customers in the mid to long term. As you said, we're aiming to 90% of our lineup to be offering these AI autonomous technology in the future. And we will gradually deploy. We're starting with the L Grand here in Japan in 2027. And after that, we will gradually deploy the technology across the different markets in the world. So this is one part of the strategy. The other part is bringing more efficiency and throughput of the nameplates that we have. So what we will do is today we have 56 products in the lineup. We want to reduce that to 45. We have many products that are elongated cars that are not bringing a lot of value to the company. So we have decided that every car in the lineup needs to have a very clear role and a clear mission. And those that don't have that will be gradually, removed from the lineup. With this, we will bring our total portfolio from 56 to 45, which will make our investments more efficient. So we will be focusing more investment per car that will make them more attractive, having more character, and being more competitive. And when we do that, we will be able of expanding the volume per nameplate. One example of how we do that is by investing on more powertrain choices within the same car. Today, many of our cars, most of them, only have one powertrain option. So today we have many, many engines in our menu, let's say, or the technology shelf that we have, but each engine is applied to one car. So we are having a lot of diversity and we are not providing enough customer choice. So what we want to do is to reduce the number of diversity, have fewer engines in the shelf or on the shelf, but use these engines in more cars. So with this, we bring efficiency on the development of powertrain and we provide more customer choice. And by offering more customer choice, we expect the volume for nameplate to increase.
And among the powertrains that you're talking about, it seems that you're really emphasizing, when it comes to the United States market, the V6 engines and the V6 hybrid, which is a new offering really in the lineup here. What can you tell us about those two engine variants and how you might use them in the United States?
Okay, so on powertrain, we will have ICE still, because we do think there's still demand for competitive ICE powertrains. One example is the V6 that you just mentioned. We will continue investing in e-power because this is at the center of our strategy, because it's a bridge between today hybrid market and the future of EV, both from a customer standpoint, but also from an industrial standpoint, because there's a lot of commonality between the e-power components and the electric vehicle components like the e-motor, inverter, and the reducer gear. So in the future, when the demand starts shifting to EV, it's very easy for Nissan to move into EV from an e-power investment that we have already done. And then the last part is what you were saying. So V6 hybrid. So V6 and V6 hybrid will come in the new family of products that we are calling the frame family. Nissan will be moving in the future to having 3 families in the lineup. These 3 families will basically add up for the 80% of the volume, total volume of a company. These 3 families will start with the frame family that will come in 2028 in North America. We will also be having a compact family that will start in Japan, also around the same timing. And there's a 3rd family that we are not announcing today, but it will be basically sitting in between those 2. So slightly larger than the compact and slightly smaller than the frame. Okay. And this frame family will be bringing this V6 and V6 hybrid powertrain.
That's great. One thing that really stood out in today's presentation was that you said you gave actually some sales targets, kind of maybe long-term sales targets for the fiscal year that ends in March 31st, 2031. So it's about 5 years out, but you want to hit 1 million, return to 1 million sales in the United States by that time. I think that's the last time you hit around or were at 1 million was in 2019, I believe. What makes you think you can get there in this kind of current environment? Is it because you expect the overall market to go up as well? Or what are the dynamics that are going to drive you back to 1 million?
I think it's a combination, Hans. We have a very strong dealer network that is needing more product. So when we bring the right product, organically the volume should grow. The other thing that we're doing also is, and it's part of the strategy today, we're moving from relying in the past, there were years in the past that around 30% of Nissan's volume in North America was coming from fleets and rentals. So we are reducing that. There's a healthy fleet volume that we can expect in the order of 11-12%, but we're trying to stay at that level. And the rest of the sales, we want to focus on retail buyers. And the reason to do that is retail buyers stick with the brand. So these are customers that first you can sell at a higher price. Mm-hmm. And there are customers that are more prone to rebuy the brand. And there are customers that are also bringing value, not only in the new car sale, but also in the sales finance part of the business.
So you're targeting like high 80% of retail share.
Right.
And where are you today in the United States?
Well, today we're cruising 85%. Yeah.
You're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Okay.
So when you look at the total sales, we are, I would say, flattish versus last year. So year over year, we're flat. But the volume inside is much healthier than what it was 1 year before. So we are reducing the reliance on fleets and rentals and capitalizing a lot more on retail.
Okay. And another thing we talked earlier about as well was the idea that the volume at Nissan has been maybe the weak point. The rest of the pieces of your recovery plan or revival plan are falling into place, but still volume keeps sliding. But you really need to turn it around. When we look at the current fiscal year that just started here in April 1st and goes through next March, what do you expect in terms of volume increase there? You mentioned that this might be the year to actually turn things around. You're predicting maybe it's going to bottom out and rebound.
Yeah, I think 2026, I have no number to give you now because we will be announcing our business plan in a few weeks. But we expect this year this FY26 to start turning back on the volume. I think there's opportunity for us in Japan. There's opportunity for us to continue the good trend in the US and also to continue the good trend in China with the new products that we're rolling out that were designed and engineered and manufactured in China. We started with a few products already. 4 products have been launched with this philosophy. We see good traction, and we will continue investing in the same way for the future.
That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to our own Lawrence Iliff, Michael Martinez, and Vince Bond Jr. for their reporting for today's podcast. You can get the latest news on EV sales, executive moves, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back tomorrow for a conversation with Matthias Stover, founder and CEO of automotive training company RockEd, about the need to train service advisors.
See the service advisor as the glue that holds a lot of things together.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313 444-2774. And if you enjoyed the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.